Hello everybody, my name is Abby and I recently just got accepted into the Disney College program for spring 2020 and I got accepted for the Spring Advantage, and so I am going to be talking about the application process, moving on to the WBI, which is a web-based interview, getting to the next step, which is the phone interview, talking about the phone interview and my tips and tricks for the phone interview, and then finally getting accepted. So continue watching if you guys want to hear my experience with getting accepted. So I decided to take the ears off because they are extremely large and they are giving me a headache, so we're just going to not wear them for the rest of this video. So I have been applying for the Disney College program for the past four-ish years, not four-ish years, but the past 4 application seasons I've been applying, and I never made it to the web-based interview, sadly. I always applied the second that the applications dropped because they usually tell you when the applications drop, and so every year I would apply. The minute the applications dropped, I would fill out my application and do all that fun stuff, and then the waiting game happened, but sadly the waiting game ended when I would get the NLIC, which is the email saying that you're no longer in consideration. So this year, I didn't apply last season because of school. I was really busy, and so this season I decided to apply for the spring 2020 program, and I wasn't thinking much about it. I wasn't gonna get my hopes up like I have been for the past 4 applications because I didn't get accepted. I didn't move on to the web-based interview, so I actually didn't apply the second that the applications dropped because I was really busy at work, and I work at a daycare, so I didn't want to step out of ratio to actually go and fill out the application and submit it and all that fun stuff. So I actually applied a couple days later, and I actually 15 minutes later got an email saying that I'm moving on to the web-based interview. And at that point I started crying, and I called my family because at that time I didn't tell my family that I was applying this season, because if I was getting my hopes up, they were getting their hopes up, and then I had to break the news that I didn't get past the first stage of the application process. So I did call my family, and I was crying, and I was really excited, and I was actually off of work, so I was here at home in my room, and so I was like, all right, I'm doing the web-based interview. It was 15 minutes long, and so the web-based interview is an online questionnaire where they give you different scenarios, and you click high interest to low interest and everything in the middle. So I don't really know what all the options are, but there is a moderate middle where you can agree or disagree. So yeah, that took about 15 minutes. So I submitted that, and then instantly got a phone interview, and I was freaking out because I was what the heck, I would apply the minute applications dropped before and never got this far. So I was really excited, and so I scheduled my phone interview very quickly. It was a day in September. September was a very busy month for me. I worked every single day. I was constantly doing stuff. It was my birthday month, so I was doing stuff for my birthday. So I kind of just picked a day where I knew that I was working but could go in late. So I think it was September 3rd where I scheduled my phone interview. So with my phone interview, I was obviously very excited, and so I was kind of just picking the earliest date that I can actually find. So sorry, my tongue is blue. I was eating a blue lollipop, but the phone interview was the earliest I could, schedule it, so I did that, but I wasn't paying attention that I put in the wrong time zone. It didn't affect me as much, but I got scared because I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna think I'm in California. And I actually set my, interview time for 11:45 in the morning, my time. But the night before my interview I was going through it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I put it in the wrong time zone, and now I'm not getting called until 2:45 p.m. So I had to figure things out with work and stuff, because I said that I could come in right after my interview, which was supposed to be 11:45, so I'd be getting into work a little bit later. They were completely fine with it. I didn't let it stress me out. Well, I did let it stress me out because that's just how I am. So I was very stressed out the night before. I didn't really let it affect me that much because I wouldn't have gotten a good night's sleep if I was doing that, and I was, busy getting everything ready, just prepping myself completely so I'm fully prepared. So the morning came, and I woke up really early. I got showered. I did my makeup just because I don't really usually do my makeup on a daily, but I thought, hey, since like I want to get into the Disney spirit, I would just do my makeup. I was wearing this sweatshirt and I was wearing my Mickey Mouse ears. So I was fully excited. And then the mistake, this is where my first tip is going to come in. Don't write every single thing down. So I went through, I think it was like 148 potential questions that they could ask you. And I wrote every single question down and I had it answered to a T. For me, when I applied, I said that I would be interested in doing everything, just because if I even get the experience to be going to Disney World, where it is my favorite place ever, I didn't care what I was doing. So I had every single potential role questions written down, and so I did that, and like I got prepped for all of that, and I laid them all on my bed. So like I was literally at the edge of my bed because all these papers were like right here ready to go. And then my boyfriend told me that they're gonna ask me every single question, not every single question, but every single role question. They're gonna ask me a question from each role, and I was very stressed out because I was like, oh, I thought they were gonna like ask my top 3 roles, and that's how like the questions were gonna get going. No, that didn't happen. So when the time did come, she did call on time, and I was very shaky because instead of, you know, not like stressing out, I began to stress out because there were some roles that I didn't write questions down. So before she even called, like I was writing those down, writing potential questions and answers that I just know that would be like fresh in my mind just in case she asked me. So when she called, I don't know if the service was bad there or the service was bad here, because I started with my earphones in. I had both in, and like I had it at like a volume where it was like I can still hear, but like I can hear clear. So she called me and she immediately told me her name, and her name was Beth, and she was the nicest person I've ever talked to on the phone. She was so sweet, and she had such like a very like nice personality. So I felt very comfortable about that. But the first 2 times she told me her name, I didn't hear what she said clearly. So I had to ask her a few times, which is fine, but for me, like that stressed me out, and that's where everything went wrong. Everything from there on kind of went wrong because I got super scared. My voice got super like shaky and like nervous. And so I was telling her my name and stuff. Well, she already knew my name, but I was like telling her anyways. And so like the first question that they always ask every program like interviewer is, why the Disney College program? But at first she asked me everything about me, and then why the Disney College program. So my voice was shaky, and I feel like this is a lot with everybody, is that they kind of have that shaky voice, but then as the interview goes on, it gets better. I can't say the same for me because I could barely hear Beth the whole interview, and like I heard like bits and pieces of the questions, but like I knew what the questions were because like I was looking at all the questions, so I knew the base of what she was asking. So that stressed me out. So I told her why I wanted to do the Disney College program, and I feel like I sounded very monotone because I had it to a T in my head what I wanted to say, and that famous word that everyone says came out multiple times, and that is the word That was literally, I wrote it in big letters on my like note cards to not say and that happened, like my first like thing answering her, and that's why the Disney College program. And I said many times. I didn't start my sentences with but it did sneak its way in there. And so I was like, oh, here we go, it's completely endgame. So I told her why I wanted to do the Disney College program, and then she continued to ask me a lot about like custodial, lifeguarding, child activities, merchandising, and quick food service. And so I answered those, but did come out. But once I started talking about the fact that I work at a daycare, which I have been working at a daycare since I graduated high school in 2015, so I've been doing it for a very long time. When she asked me the lifeguarding questions, I actually told her that I'm CPR certified and swim safety certified. So I'm not lifeguard cert, like I'm not a lifeguard, I don't have the certificate to be a lifeguard, but she really loved the fact that I worked with kids and that I was telling her my experiences, because this past summer when I would work in the toddler room, I was going in the pools with them because they did swim lessons, and then we went to like our local pool and they had their swim days, so I had experience with that. And so at the end of the interview, I was really hoping that I would get children's activities or lifeguarding, just because when I would talk about that, like, it seemed like in her voice it got like, yeah, I was already happy, but like it got happier and very exciting, the fact that like I work with kids and that I was very interested in doing a lifeguard position. So the questions got better, like all the questions and my answers got better. I sounded more happy. I obviously smiled the whole time. It was just the beginning of that like kind of like blew me off. Like, it was like, that might be like the end for me. So my interview lasted about 15 minutes. It wasn't too long. She made the interview very fast, which was fine for me. So when it was the end, I asked like the questions that I had, and I kind of like threw in some questions about her. Like, obviously she did the Disney College program, but I was asking her what her favorite part about the Disney College program was. So that kind of like made it feel a little bit more comfortable, but then the interview was over. So I didn't know this, but once the interview was over, you like get an email saying, hey, thank you for interviewing. I didn't get that email for a very, very, very long time. And that made me scared, because I was like, oh my god, my boyfriend who did the program, well, didn't do the program, but he applied with me but had his interview before me, got the email kind of like a couple hours after. I didn't get that email till like after midnight, and that scared me. Like, the whole time I had to go to work, I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna get no longer in consideration because I didn't get the thank you for interviewing. I might like immediately just like get denied completely. But once I got the email saying, hey, thank you for interviewing, I was very de-stressed after that. So I was waiting for a little bit. I didn't check my emails every day. Like, I wasn't gonna be the person that I knew I wanted to be and constantly check my emails, because I know that you have the text messages that they send you once there's a new message in your dashboard, and I put my emails on, so every time I got a notification, I saw the email. So like I said, I didn't check my email because I got the notification, and obviously like I didn't get a text message from Disney saying if I got like an acceptance rule or whatever. But a week later on the dot, a wave did start, and I was at work and I had 1 second that I could check my phone, and I did get the text message first before I got the email update that I got an email from Disney saying that I got accepted. So they said that I should check my email because there's a very exciting update to my dashboard, and so I did. And right in big letters it said congratulations, and so I was very excited. I actually started crying. I didn't film it because I wasn't expecting to get accepted that wave. I think it was like the second wave that I got accepted, and so I was very, very excited. My coworkers actually saw my reaction of getting accepted, and so I checked my role, and I am a lifeguard for the Spring Advantage for 2020, and I'm very excited because once that interview was over, I knew for sure that I wanted to get lifeguard or children's activities, and I'm very excited that I got my first top role. I am going to be filming my journey when DCP does start, so I think for like the 60-day countdown, that's when I'm going to start filming, and you know, film that like I'm packing, and then throughout the journey I'm going to be posting a lot more videos. So if you guys want to keep watching and watch my journey, I would love that, and I'm so excited to meet all of the new people. I've been talking to potential roommates, I've been in a group meet chat with all the lifeguards, and we're already planning like our first, you know, little hangout thing, and I'm very excited, and I'm very excited to share my journey with you guys.